Violence all I see, feel like my mind in a war zone. Aim for the head, you know I don't miss. They come for the king, I'm making a list. While they getting followers, I'm getting rich. And everything earned is never a gift. Know who I am, I know what I'm not. I'll never be faking, it's always legit. Started with nothing and I made a lot. Put food on the table, now everyone lit. We not the same, I put in the work, I never complain. If I were to fall, I'm taking the blame. While they all be pointing the finger and that is a shame. Know it's my time, they calling me Dame. The game on the line, I'm running the play. Man of my word, I say what I mean and I do what I say. Looking for me, but they not even part of my league. I've been on fire, 200 degrees. Out of Miami, but repping the sea. Live in the sky, I'm feeling the breeze. Never went Hollywood, did it my way. I felt the love and I've been betrayed. I took the knife in my back and I sharpened it. Now I'll be coming for everyone, blocking my lane. I put the game in a chokehold. They'll be moving in slow-mo. Shooting my shot from the logo. And I be cooking up so low. I be the only one calling the shots. Nobody else ever taking control. They'll be trying to put me in a box. I can't relate to no internet trolls. They can't do it like me. Too locked in, I've been in my zone. If you don't ride with me, then I'ma make it on my own. Waiting for my demise. Been too long, I'm never gon' fold. Violence all I see. Feel like my mind in a war zone. Yeah, let me take you back to when I was starting out on the come up. I was grinding till the sun up. My neighbors told me to shut up, but they couldn't see the bigger vision. Got no intuition, now my taxes more than their tuition. They see how I'm living and my autos becoming my competition today. I remember I was making under minimum wage. It was part of the story, but now I'm turning the page. And I got bars for days, but can't be locked in the cage. I've been underrated, overlooked like a speed limit. They've been trying to slow me down like I got a speeding ticket. I got demons I keep hitting in the back of my head. I'm not vegan, I keep feeding off the shit that they said. I've been living out my dreams while they stuck in their bed. I've been thinking like a king till the day that I'm dead. I remember when they never would've listened to me, and now I'm everything that they ever been wishing to be. I've been working overtime like every day of the week. I've been studying in school, already got a degree. Trying to make it to a doctor, I've been working on my patience. I'm trying to make a living with multiple occupations. Coming out of the basement on the radio stations. I'm going face to face with all of my contemplations. I feel like God's gift and this is my celebration. I'm trying to lead the way for all the future generations. I don't want them calling on my phone. I've been on my way to the top, no ceiling. They leaving a message at the tone. Trying to get involved, but I really don't need it. I don't want them calling on my line. I know what they wanted and it's not no secret. I'ma tell them that I'm doing fine. Trying to get involved, but I really don't need it. I got old friends slowly turning into enemies. I got people in my life trying to block my energy, and I'm trying to keep my focus surrounded by Hennessy. People drinking every night, trying to fade their memories. I've been working on my mind, staying focused mentally. I've been watering my grass, trying to grow my money tree. Not reacting to the lies, I don't know the chemistry, but I know that everything will happen how it's meant to be. From a small town, trying to make it out to better living. No reminiscing on memories and shit I was missing. No politician, but they listen to the shit that I say. On my way to better days, I never seen a delay. I've been highly debated, I'm never jaded to the life. Not degraded by haters who busy wasting all their time. I've been murdering beats and now they be calling it a crime. Working while the sun down, waiting for my time to shine. Now they say I'm rapping about the same thing every time, but I'm always seeing people with their focus out of line. I've been sending the message until they get it, trying to let them know time is too expensive, I can't never let it go. I don't want them calling on my phone. I've been on my way to the top, no ceiling. They leaving a message at the tone. Trying to get involved, but I really don't need it. I don't want them calling on my line. I know what they wanted and it's not no secret. I'ma tell them that I'm doing fine. Trying to get involved, but I really don't need it. I miss, roll around town hanging out of the whip. Nowadays life just feel like a mess. Sometimes wish they didn't know I exist. Feeling the pressure like are they impressed, or is all of this shit gonna come to an end? Save it or spend, so many questions I don't know the answer. It all just depends how I'm feeling when the day is starting. Sometimes good but the others darker. Check my phone and see what they talking. They got a lot to say, but I beg your pardon. Losing hope when I don't see results. I came so far, but I'm still not close to what I wanna be when the curtain's closed. My life not normal, I can't lose hope. They don't really know me like they think they do. I've been through a lot of things they never knew, but everything I do is a part of the plan. Yeah, they hate it or they love it, they don't understand. I'm far from normal, I'm far from normal. They don't understand the shit that I just had to go through. Yeah, I'm far from normal, I'm far from normal. I've been doing everything that they all said I won't do. Hey, check my phone and see my mama calling. I don't wanna talk, got a lot of problems. Some of them still too far from solving. She can hear the pain in my voice when I'm talking, yeah. I don't know what's gotten into me, I'm turning into my enemy. Whole lot of money that's sent to me, but nothing ever be helping me, cause I be struggling mentally, yeah. I did a lot, but it's not enough. Proving myself is the shit I love. The more that I get, then the more that I give. 100% that I put into this. Leaving the past and I'm making some room. I know that my blessings gonna be coming soon. I cannot ever go hide away, cause people depend on the shit I say. They don't really know me like they think they do. I've been through a lot of things they never knew, but everything I do is a part of the plan. Yeah, they hate it or they love it, they don't understand. I'm far from normal, I'm far from normal. They don't understand the shit that I just had to go through. Yeah, I'm far from normal, I'm far from normal. I've been doing everything that they all said I won't do. I put the team on my back, I do it all for the family. Everyone think they can rap, nobody ever gon' challenge me. Starting my week on a Sunday, they think they can make it in one day. I just been ready to take off, waiting my turn on the runway. Never be turning around, never be turning around, ayy. Never be slowing it down, never be slowing it down, ayy. I keep my foot on the gas, I keep my foot on the gas, ayy. I know I'm never gon' crash, I know I'm never gon' crash, ayy. Never be turning around, never be turning around, ayy. Never be slowing it down, never be slowing it down, ayy. I keep my foot on the gas, I keep my foot on the gas, ayy. I know I'm never gon' crash, I know I'm never gon' crash, ayy. Everyone making excuses, I've been busy making music. They just wanna see me fall off, know that I'm never gon' lose it. Got addicted to the chase now, people saying that I changed now. Know that I'm never gon' stand still, I'm treating the game like a race now. They really been carefully watching me, they treated me like I was calories, but really they can't get enough of me. They treated me like I'm a salary, they bringing me up in discussion, they wondering how do I do it so casually. I celebrate all of my victories, all of a sudden they all gon' be mad at me. Damn, I don't have time for concern, I just go live and I learn. Trust me, I waited my turn, living my dream in return. This is a given, it's earned. People been listening over the world, I've been making that money while I be asleep. I never ran to the money, but now all the money been too busy running to me. Ayy, I put the team on my back, I do it all for the family. Everyone think they can rap, nobody ever gon' challenge me. Starting my week on a Sunday, they think they can make it in one day. I just been ready to take off, waiting my turn on the runway. Never be turning around, never be turning around, ayy. Never be slowing it down, never be slowing it down, ayy. I keep my foot on the gas, I keep my foot on the gas, ayy. I know I'm never gon' crash, I know I'm never gon' crash, ayy. Never be turning around, never be turning around, ayy. Never be slowing it down, never be slowing it down, ayy. I keep my foot on the gas, I keep my foot on the gas, ayy. I know I'm never gon' crash, I know I'm never gon' crash, ayy. I'm not doing this for the money, so don't misinterpret my last line. The weather ain't always been sunny, but I know that I'm gonna still shine. You never gon' make it till you got the power to go and develop a strong mind. Cause everything happens where you don't expect it, the journey ain't given a deadline. I'm going till I got a flat line, connecting with people like landline. I've been blowing up like a landmine, I put myself on like a combine. Knowing the way that they go and I'm ready for more, I don't wait on the sideline. I'm feeling like 2011 when Drizzy was dropping them hits like his headlines. I don't understand what I can't do, if I cut you off then I had to. I'm staying up late like it's fast food, the life of a rapper who is school. I don't wanna hear other people.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good everybody, and welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Friday. Tea with a Hacker. Glad to be here. Second week. We got 2 weeks down, folks. 50 more to go for the year. I am super stoked for the year. Super stoked that it's Friday. Glad to be seeing everybody. Cheers. I'm rocking my usual this morning, my chai latte. Oh, gotten the caffeine going early. Love it. This is my favorite stream of the week. Hope you guys are having a good day. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to our Tea with a Hacker, our Friday morning AMA stream where I spend some time sitting here with you all across the globe, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you are, answering your questions, telling war stories, talking all things cybersecurity. This is our Friday morning AMA stream. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. We absolutely love the questions. Drop those questions in the chat at any point in time this morning, and our mods will pick it up. Speaking of moderators, we do have moderators in chat. Moderators are here to keep chat free of racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to toxicity in chat. Be sure to give a huge shout out to all your moderators out there. They are working tirelessly. Most of them are at work, and I want to thank them personally for taking time out of their workday to spend it with me and to help us keep you safe. We do like to keep chat free for everybody to discuss. Regardless of your opinion, we are here for the diverse opinions that exist all across cybersecurity. And so please, moderators are not here to stifle chat by any way, stretch your mind. We definitely want to hear from you. What if the moderators are toxic? I would never hire toxic moderators. They're only allowed to be toxic to me. They take it all out on me, I promise you that. They take it out on me. So with that being said, do drop your questions in chat at any point in time. One of our moderators, like the good old-fashioned beard sec there, will grab something awesome that somebody says out of chat and push it up onto screen for you to have. Speaking of which, put that one up from True. Gonna call out the healthy, happy vibe you've got, feeling great, extra caffeine, or both? Both. A little bit of both. I did my weight this morning. I'm down to 186. I want you to, I'm 20 pounds lighter. You guys have been watching me, for the last, since May, since we've been doing Sec Data Ops. I'm down 20 pounds. This is 20 pounds lighter. In the gym 3+ times a week. Speed training, working on my golf game, eating right. I've dropped my calorie intake pretty consistently. And I have to say, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good. The caffeine always helps. There's never anything wrong with the caffeine. Lord knows that. I do love the caffeine. Want to give a quick shout out. We did do a giveaway this week. If you are listening, not only IT, Hector, good to see you as a winner, and our good mod Amoeba, Angry Amoeba, you three. Awesome folks won the laptop desk lap thingy from BitLift's giveaway on Tuesday. Make sure you do reach out to me. I'll reach out to each of you guys to get your addresses. We'll get those sent out to you. Congratulations to our winner. That is a reminder to hop into Discord if you want to participate in future giveaways. All of our giveaways happen in Discord, so do make sure you are in Discord, hanging out in there. Speaking of Discord, it looks like the group is starting to get back together in the evenings on a couple occasions to chat in the evenings. There's also, I want to give a huge shout out to a couple people. About a week ago, somebody posted in the career advice channel, and this is the power of the community. I want you guys to understand the power of this community that we've got here. About a week ago, somebody posted in the career advice channel. So a huge shout out to eCurve, Bayou Beast, and our good mod Sec IT guy for jumping in and really pulling together to answer some questions for some folks who are having some career questions in the community. Another huge benefit to hanging out in the Discord. Love it. I love it. Question over on LinkedIn was a question to help you. If this is multi-streamed, it is indeed multi-streamed. Where is your preferred platform for comments, questions? I don't particularly have a preferred platform. I'll give you a little bit of a history. We started exclusively on Twitch. Right? We started exclusively on Twitch because I wanted to be where it was during the time of COVID, and I wanted to be where a lot of young folks were catching a lot of their content, and I wanted to do a live stream. I didn't want to do video-based content. And so this was before Twitch allowed folks to do multi-streaming. And so we made the strategic decision to stay on Twitch and start on Twitch. And so there is a large concentration of folks who do view us on Twitch. That's where you see the chat on the side predominantly coming from is our folks on Twitch. There's usually a party in Twitch in some way, shape, or fashion at some point in time. And so that's not to say that my preferred platform is Twitch, but that's why you see a large predominance of viewers over on Twitch. Since then, Twitch has gotten with the modern times and allowed multi-streaming, which has allowed us to stream simultaneously across LinkedIn and YouTube. And so I'm super grateful for that. And so we've got folks that are tuned in from all those platforms. But I've got all three windows up right here in front of me so that I can watch your questions no matter where you happen to be tuning in from. So if you want to hang out on Twitch, go ahead. If you want to hang out on LinkedIn, have fun. If you want to hang out on YouTube, I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you on whatever platform you're there. Absolutely. We got you. Here's dropping the Discord link into the LinkedIn chat there for you. There you go. That's for you. Absolutely. So yeah, tune in wherever you're at. We absolutely love it. Congrats to our winners. Make sure you're in that Discord for future givings. Make sure you're in Discord looking at some career advice. We've got lots of ways for you to network with folks. Want to remind everybody we're mid-January. I'm going to hold you accountable. And there still aren't a whole lot of goals posted in the Golz channel. Let's get some goals going in there. Maintain that social accountability for your goals. Love it. Question over on the YouTube side. Would you say that after you finish the CTF box, it would be a good practice to automate the process with Python to practice Python skills? I think like the general question around, how do you weave in various types of developer skills as you're, practicing cybersecurity? I think what I would focus on is solving the problem, right? A lot of people are like, well, I want to learn Python, but I don't know where to start. And then they try to figure out where to start, right? But then they're not really trying to solve a problem. And I think that's where I would encourage you. I think what you mentioned here, right, is a great place to start to solve the problem. You have finished a CTF box. Are there aspects of that exercise for that CTF box that you could automate? Absolutely. If you can find a way to automate the process, if you can find a way to leverage some form of, and it doesn't have to be Python. Like I love that you mentioned Python. Python will always be something that I always tell people to gravitate towards, but it could be Bash. It could be PowerShell. It could be Go. It could be anything that you want to, right? Whatever. It's never a bad idea to look to do automation. I'll tell you too, I saw Frazier hanging out in Discord. I don't know if he's in Twitch chat or not. Frazier's been doing some awesome stuff with AI agents on the automation front. If you wanted a nugget, if you wanted a good nugget, right? If you're thinking about automation and you've got a knack or an ear for development, I would look at AI agents and I would talk to Frazier about it. He's doing some cool stuff with AI agents. I do fundamentally think, I have a belief that will be a core skill. I think Frazier and I talked about this in chat the other day. I think that will be a core cybersecurity skill that people should absolutely absolutely be looking into. If you wanted a nugget on way to get ahead, way to get something kind of like a bleeding edge, be looking at AI agents and AI automation workflows for cybersecurity. And if you need some help, I'll volunteer our mod, Frazier. He's doing some awesome stuff with that. I'm sure he'd love to kind of share and swap stories with you. I'm excited to see his work. He's working on something cool, so I'm excited to see that. Kirk over on LinkedIn says, a lot to manage. Very nice, Neal. I'll be passing that Discord link to folks. Absolutely. Pass that Discord link to... listen, social media, right? You will always hear me talk about social media. Social media is your friend. And I want to, like... It goes with, like, nobody likes LinkedIn. Nobody likes social media. Maybe there's a few people that like social media, right? Social media is different than what it used to be, right? Social media is different than what it used to be, but it is hands down the best way to get your message out. And so absolutely, Kirk, you or anybody else, if you take clips of this stream, if you find a nugget of information, right? If we say something awesome and you think that it needs to be shared with the world, I would argue that you have a judiciary responsibility to share that with as many people as you can. You saw Regigal in chat yesterday. Regigal in chat yesterday said, this is in Discord, said, same here. I was able to help a colleague out. My recommendation got them past the HR gatekeeper and into the video interview process. Did a mock interview session to prepare. Feels good to give back. Good way to start is if we say something awesome and you feel the need to share it with somebody, please, absolutely give back. Absolutely give back. Thank you for this, Tails. Thank you for this. I really do appreciate it. There are certain things about social media that I like. Let's be real on social media for a second, right? First and foremost, I am former military. I spent a large portion of that working an intelligence function. And so at the end of the day, social media is an intelligence-rich environment. Tails, if you got a URL, send it to a mod, and if they approve it, there you go. SecIT's got it. Social media is the, hands down, largest intelligence platform on the internet. Period, dot, end of discussion. And so if you have a military inclination, if you have an intelligence inclination, whether it's CTI or OSINT or whatever the case is, and you think that social media is cat videos and twerking and politics, then you are very, very misconstrued about the value of social media. Social media is an intelligence platform first and foremost. Right? And so, do I like social media? I like it for what its purpose is. Its purpose is as an information dissemination platform. Oh, what happened to my dog? ADHD. I got distracted. There we go. I had to make sure the dog. Good morning, ADHD. Good morning, ADHD. Welcome to the party. Glad to see you. As I was saying, social media is an so I say all that to say, don't balk at social media, right? Don't balk at social media simply because you have a misconception on how it's used, right? You can curate your platform so that you only see creators you like. You can only get, like, you can curate X so that you only see cybersecurity content. You can follow a ton of researchers on X so you only see research and threat intelligence. As a matter of fact, do people know we've had a long-running threat intelligence list on our X profile since we've started streaming. It's a list you can follow that has some of the top threat intelligence resources that I would recommend you follow on our X profile. You could have that list followed and only view that list. And therefore, you're only seeing cybersecurity related stuff on X. And so if you're not leveraging it appropriately, I would start with what's your perception of social media, and is it misrepresented? All right? Now, there's that's the best way to use social media, right? Is to spread information, spread intelligence, and gather intelligence across the threat landscape. Period. Dot. End of discussion. I did see, and I will harp on this. I follow a lot of folks who specialize in recruitment, careers. I do this so that I can aggregate this information and pass it to you. And so I did, some of my creators that I follow on some of the lists that I have specifically around career and recruiting talk about LinkedIn branding. Because as you know, as you've always known, from the days when I was on David's channel, right, talking with David Bombal, to everything here inside of Cyber Insecurity, I've always preached about personal branding. As a matter of fact, you can go to cyberinsecurity.tv and you can self-assess your LinkedIn profile from a branding perspective. Cyberinsecurity.tv, you can go out there right now and go do a self-assessment on your LinkedIn profile to assist you in your LinkedIn branding. As I was listening to some of my creators the other day, guess what they're starting to say? This is going to sound so much like I told you so, and I this is hashtag sorry not sorry, but they are now saying that the LinkedIn algorithm has tweaked again, and what LinkedIn is prioritizing for recruiters, you're never going to guess it. Anybody want to guess it? Anybody want to guess what it is in chat? It's definitely not cat pics, Beard. It is the content of your post. So if you go on the rubric, we will update the rubric for this. But if you go on the rubric, one of the grading criteria for the rubric is, are you active? Is your activity there? Do you have posts? Are you in the comments? And are you contributing to the community? That has always been in the resume rubric. Call me prophetic. That's okay. I don't care. Right? But LinkedIn algorithm for recruiters, that means that there's for those who don't know, let me make sure I explain this to you. Recruiters have a separate interface in LinkedIn. They pay money to have a separate interface in LinkedIn. The money that they pay allows them to filter and find candidates for job postings. LinkedIn's algorithm recently changed because, gasp, LinkedIn realized that there are a ton of fake profiles on LinkedIn. Imagine that. And apparently they were having turnover of their recruiting services that they were selling to recruiters, because recruiters were looking for people based on their LinkedIn profile and getting a ton of fake profiles and getting ghosted by a lot of candidates. So now recruiters are starting to look at candidates and look at their activity feed. And they're looking at their activity feed to see if they're real, to see if they're active, and then to see if they're an expert. What have I always told you guys? What have I always told you? If you wanted to get noticed, you have got to put content out there. It's got to show up on your LinkedIn feed. That's okay. I'll wait for it. You can say it. I told you so. I told you so. It's all right. So now that it's out there, now that the world knows, now let's have a reality check for a second. Now that the world knows that stuff that appears on your activity feed is what recruiters are looking at. If you haven't been listening to me and if you haven't been taking my advice, guess what? You are now behind everybody else who has content on their LinkedIn page. Right? I love it. I love it. Head over to cybersecurity.tv. Head over to cybersecurity.tv. Use the resume rubric. We will update it over the next few days to incorporate some of these new changes to the algorithm. But be that as it may, it's still very, very relevant for you. As a matter of fact, I want to give a huge shout out. Thank you very much to Sonic, who used the resume self-assessment for the internal application they just did, made it way better. Thanks for that. It is tried and true. Right? It is tried and true. The resume rubric, the grading tool works. It works. Thank you, CyberTies, for the testimonial. Followed your advice and got a cyber internship from it. I wouldn't lead you astray, guys. I wouldn't lead you astray. I want all of you to get jobs in this industry. Frazier Iris over on LinkedIn says, does Frazier have a live session somewhere? Frazier is literally the most boring speaker in the entire world, and he's got worse ADHD than I do. Trust me, you don't want a live session from Frazier. But I'm sure that you can catch him in Discord one night, and he'll be more than happy to chat with you in Discord. Siraj over on LinkedIn says, can you elaborate on topics to be ready for cybersec jobs here in India? What one should prepare and how to find opportunities. Also, I need a few insist on what checklist I should follow. So I'm gonna be a little cautious on recommendations for India because I understand India is vastly different, right? What I will say, generally speaking, on topics to be ready for cybersecurity jobs, as a general rule, regardless of whether you're in a technical role or a non-technical role, I would try to have fundamental understanding of networking, technologies, right? Routers, switches, TCP/IP, OSI model, right? A little bit of IP addressing. Please, you don't have to worry about, crazy, crazy amounts of subnetting or anything like that. But I would say some fundamental networking understanding is absolutely key. I would say if you had fundamental understanding of blue team capabilities, right? What is a SOC? What is incident response? Things like that. What is threat hunting? Like, what are those things? I would say very fundamental understanding of those types of concepts. If you had very, very fundamental understandings of hacking technologies, right? Not necessarily hacking technologies, but just hacking concepts, right? I'd say all of those are very key to beginning your cybersec journey, regardless of where you're at, right? Exactly. Sec IT guy doubling down on that. You don't need to get CCNP. You do not need to get CCNP. You do not need to get CCNA. You do not need to be a CCIE for cybersecurity. You do not. Not NOT. You do not. But you should at least understand some fundamental networking. Also, do not take for granted, please do not take for granted gig work through the big fours and bug bounty programs through HackerOne and BugCrowd. Those programs are zero cost entry for you to get into just starting to perform those things. You can tell it's been a great morning. I'm out of coffee already. I need to bring the espresso machine up here so I can make my latte while I'm up here. The biggest thing about India is I understand competition is really, really hard in India. I do not take that away from how hard it is to get jobs in India. I have more people in my DMs from India than anywhere else. I have more people in my coaching program from India than anywhere else because it is incredibly competitive in India. And I acknowledge that, right? India has some unique challenges in that way when it comes to getting jobs in India. The family you grew up in matters. The school you went to matters. The degree program you went to matters. A lot of those things matter. I don't discount that struggle. Right? And so what I would encourage you to do is to put yourself out there as much as possible to showcase your expertise. The thing that will survive any competition, whether it's in the US or India or Singapore Tales, the thing that will survive any competition is your personal brand. If your name is out there, if you are known, if you are seen as an expert, that stuff will transcend a lot of the competitions and the boundaries that you're running into. I can almost unequivocally guarantee you that, right? And listen, Beard, I'm gonna use you as an example on this one, for this one. I love Beard Sec to death. He's awesome. He's been with me for a number of years. He's one of one of our best mods, producers, good consult, things like that. He's super smart. I'm glad Jack hired him, bring him over to INE to work with us at INE. He has zero interest in that personal branding, and that's okay. That's a choice he makes, and it's okay to make that choice knowingly and willingly, acknowledging that you may have, I'm not saying that you will, but you may have a slight disadvantage in future career opportunities. Now, I say this not to say anything bad about Brian. Brian and I have talked about his career and where he wants to go and things like that, so I'm not bashing Brian on this at all, but he has actively made a choice that is reflective of his ideals and his values and his career desires moving forward, right? That's what I'm encouraging you to do, right? If you are starting out in cyber, if you are brand new and you're trying to get in, you almost have zero choice except to make yourself known, except to put yourself out there, because you have a lot of competition that you have to compete for. And so every single one of you has to make that decision about what's important for your career, where you want to go, how you want to handle that, and use that to drive the level of effort you put into to be noticed. Don't forget, too, there is a LinkedIn channel in Discord. By the way, this is often overlooked. Again, one of the advantages to the Discord. Remember, hit up the Discord. There is a LinkedIn lounge in Discord for you to network with. What do we got? We got 4.7 thousand. I haven't pruned anybody in a while, Brian. So we've got close to 5,000 members in Discord. Some portion of those have put their LinkedIn into the lounge and said, please connect with me. Right? Those are people in your community that want to talk to you. They want to be in your network. Again, all the reasons why those things, Siraj and others who are listening, those are the things that, while I can't help you with the nuanced cultural independencies that are India, those things only do the best to bolster your standing in the cybersecurity arena. Gabriel on LinkedIn says, I'm new to the field and would like to know how the cybersecurity landscape will evolve over the next 5 years. Here's how it's going to evolve. First and foremost, anybody who tells you right? That it's going to evolve where there's no threats has no idea what they're talking about. Anybody who tells you that it's going to evolve and AI is going to take your job has no idea what they're talking about. Evolution in cyber doesn't look like zero threats. Period, dot, end of discussion, full stop, end of story. There will never be zero threats. The threat will always exist. We will always have a job because of it. Right? So when we talk about evolution in cybersecurity, we're really talking about how do we mitigate the risk better, faster, more efficient, and how do we protect our companies? That's how the cyber field is going to evolve. And so when we look at that, listen, you cannot discount artificial intelligence, AI's dominance in the current marketplace. You cannot. Go back and watch streams. Anybody who's been in this community for more than a couple of years will tell you I have always been the biggest bear on AI. And I am now here to tell you that you cannot deny AI's role in our professional, business, and technological lives moving forward. It is here. It is not going anywhere. And so what we have to start asking ourselves is when we think about the evolution of cybersecurity, how do we see AI's role playing in that arena? And so I don't have a magic ball. I know I like to do a couple of I told you so's every now and then. Speaking of which, anybody see that TikTok thing? I told you last week TikTok wasn't going to get banned. I told you so. Told you so. I'm pretty good with predictions. I'm not going to predict 5 years out what cybersecurity landscape is going to look like. But I can unequivocally tell you that AI will play some role in the future of cybersecurity. I will bet on that. Absolutely bet on that. All right. Cloud will obviously play a huge role in the future of cybersecurity, right? And so I think the biggest thing that I would look to evolve over the next 5 years, I had a couple of thoughts. I had a couple of thoughts that rushed into my head when I said that. I'm trying to figure out which one's the most controversial that I want to say. I hope to be streaming, in 5 years so that somebody can clip this and we can talk about this in 5 years. We see AI in every SOC. And I don't mean today's current version of AI. I think we will actually see really meaningful, deterministic AI in every SOC. I think we can even go so far as to see it in every security team. We're already seeing it in the GRC space. I'm playing with some tools that are AI-based in the GRC space that I think is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right? Really transformative when it comes to the GRC space. I think we will see equal parity of that transformation in the SOC. I think we will see equal parity on that. I still have a fundamental belief that breach and attack simulation is the most slept on technology, the most slept on arena of cyber out there. I think breach and attack simulation has so much room to grow. Quote me on that one. And I think that AI could be absolutely transformative in the breach and attack simulation space. And that's for my pen testers, my red teamers out there. If you're a pen tester and you're a red teamer and you're not evaluating breach and attack simulation's role in the current cybersecurity space, you're doing it wrong. I believe it is the most slept on out there. Yeah. Atomic Red Team is the GitHub version, Kirk. There's like, you know me, I'm always a fan of do the free stuff first. There's absolutely free versions of BAS. Atomic Red Team is a free version of that BAS. It is awesome. Make no mistake about it. Atomic Red Team is badass. It is like any other open source tool, right? You've got to put a little effort behind it, right? You got to put a little effort behind it to make it awesomer and to get it to work, but it is amazing, right? Breach and attack simulation and Attack IQ may be up here. It's not specifically an endorsement for Attack IQ. They, FCC, if you're watching, they didn't pay to have this banner spot. They are not a paid promoter of this stream. We did work with Attack IQ for a couple of years. I know the team over there very, very well. They do have amazing tech. They are not the only provider of BAS on the marketplace. I've got a good friend that works at Prelude. I've got a good friend that works at Simulate. There's God, what's the other one that's out there? Safe Breach is another one that's out there, right? There's lots of companies that do BAS, right? I think that BAS is to pen testing what SOAR started out to for SOCs. Not the socks you wear on your feet, but security operations centers. Right? Right? I think that BAS, breach and attack simulation, everything from Atomic Red Team, Caldera, Attack IQ, Simulate, I think those technologies are to pen testing what the Phantoms, the Demistos, when those two were open sources before they got bought by Splunk and Palo respectively. I think that BAS is to pen testing what SOAR was to SOC. It just needs the right fire, and it will be truly transformative to the pen testing space. I do fundamentally believe that. Absolutely. Man, it feels like God, I look down at the clock and it's like, oh my God, it's only been 30 minutes. It just feels like it's like I love it. I love streaming. I miss you guys so much. I do. I genuinely love streaming. I've had people reach out to me and ask me if I do YouTube videos for them. I don't fundamentally always like doing the YouTube videos. I like being spontaneous. I like the interaction with the audience. I love talking to you. I love the questions. I like when we started streaming, and I encourage you. I encourage you to go look on the YouTube channel for like some of the oldest videos that are out there. I've not taken them down. I've actually left them up. Go watch how horrible they were. I was a completely different streamer then, right? Than I am now. And so Tails, I absolutely encourage you and anybody else. I've always encouraged folks to, put content out there. We have several streamers in chat. Huge shout out to the streamers in chat. Network with me because I always want to help promote small time cybersecurity streamers. I want you all to have a part of this, right? There's a sense of accomplishment that I get from seeing you all in real time that makes me feel like we're closer, makes me feel like we're together, makes me feel like we're in a gathering of sorts. And that's something that, like, for me, yeah, we do. We want a place to send the raids, absolutely. We miss doing the raids. I absolutely love the raids were the coolest. For those who have never participated in a raid, right? In Twitch, we would take our entire audience and we would go find a small streamer in science and technology that was streaming cybersecurity stuff, and we'd take our entire audience there. And for me, it was watching the looks on their faces, watching them beam to have an audience. To have an audience, to have their moment where they could be seen by a ton of cybersecurity professionals, to be cheered on for what it is they're doing. Because as a streamer, and to your question, right, what are the things I'll need to take note while starting? Be fearless. Be fearless. It is so hard for anybody who's out there. It's hard for anybody who's starting out making content to see their face out to the world. I was the same way, even though I'd been speaking for years prior. I'm not going to lie, like I spoke at hundreds of conferences prior to streaming. Big on it. I spoke at VMworld in front of a room full of 1,000 of Carbon Black and VMware customers, and was never nervous about it. Right? And I still, in the early days of streaming, was still very, very nervous about it. I'd leave. Carmen was the first mod. We had all 3 viewers, and it was like 3 iPads in the house that were doing it, and I would still walk away incredibly nervous about it. And so the first thing, the number one thing, whether you're streaming or putting out content in general, is to get out of your own way and be fearless. LinkedIn, question on LinkedIn says, is streaming really necessary? Absolutely not. There is so much ways that you can generate content. Streaming is absolutely not necessary. My biggest advice to content creators, especially when it comes to cybersecurity, and Callie hit on it a little bit in chat, right? Everybody take a moment to think about where you are in your journey, right? Whether you've got 25 plus years or 25 minutes in this space. You know something that is more than the person who's coming behind you. Think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. There is somebody behind you who is following in your footsteps. Even if you've only been in this industry for 25 minutes, you've learned 25 minutes more than somebody else out there. Right? That knowledge is all you have to start sharing, and you will change somebody's world. Let me say that again. Whatever you know right now, when you put that content out there, it will change somebody's world. Okay? So once you realize that, no, you do not have to stream. You do not have to do YouTube videos. You do not have to do a blog. You can do all 3. You can do one of the 3. You can do none of the 3. You have choices. My encouragement to you is to do something, and to do it sooner rather than later, and just start. Don't think about it. Don't ruminate on it. Don't micromanage it to death. Don't question it to death. Don't over edit it. Listen, I'm telling you, go look at my first live streams. Be like, how the fuck did Neal go from that to what he is today? Right? And you'll see, I didn't start out this way. My first streams were a disaster, and I want you to go see how bad they were. But you got to start somewhere. And here we are 5 years later, talking to all of you. So Tails, that's my advice for you. Right? That's my advice for you. Go out there. Don't get in your way, and go make it happen. Right? Hi Kiri, you have just changed my life, and this is my third stream I'm watching. I've got all this inside of my head. All this that's inside of my head. I want to share it with you. Ask questions, get answers. Ask questions, get answers. I literally am not gatekeeping anything. You don't have to pay me for this knowledge. I'll give it away completely and totally for free. You're absolutely here to take as much out of this head as humanly possible. Sonic, is doing something like streaming Hack the Box modules a good idea then? So this is what I'm talking about, Sonic. You're already questioning it. What if I said no? Does that mean you shouldn't do it? Right? The goal of streaming, the goal of content isn't to be unique. The goal of producing content is to have your take on it. People have asked me for years. People have asked me for 5 years of streaming, Neal, will you ever do Hack the Box or try Hack Me? And my answer is always no. Right? If I were to ever do content, it's not going to be, here's a Hack the Box room, let's go do it. What I want to teach, that I think that I have that's unique, is I spent 10 years in the Air Force. Spent a good amount of that time doing offensive cyber for the NSA. I've participated in battle planning for offensive cyber operations. What I think is more important to teach in the offensive arena is how to think like a hacker. If you look at anything I've ever spoke on prior to streaming, it was always how to think like a hacker. One of the first presentations that I gave to the FBI when I got out of the Air Force, they wanted me to speak to the entire Milwaukee FBI Cyber Crimes Division and the entire InfraGard about a hacker's mentality. Because I had just spent a number of years being an offensive cybersecurity person for the government. I'd been a nation-state hacker. And so I would rather teach you what that thought process is like. I think that the valuable thing that I have to offer to you isn't how to hack a Hack the Box room. It's how to think about how to hack that Hack the Box room. Think about that for a minute. How to break into a box isn't important. Listen, how to break into a box isn't important. How to think about the process of thinking like a hacker, that's what I think you should learn. And so if I were ever to do a Hack the Box, I actually wouldn't solve the box in front of anybody. What I would do is I would go through the process of teaching you what my thought process is. And this is very similar. For those who are early, for those who were early on in Cyber Insecurity's in session, One of the first things that we did the first year we were streaming, this was the year of COVID, and this was the year that DEF CON and Black Hat had done their conferences completely virtually. In that August, they had done Red Team Labs was doing their CTF completely virtually, Blue Team Labs was doing their CTF completely virtually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What we did here on the stream, and huge shout out to Fockets if he's still hanging out in chat somewhere, right? Was him and I sat here on stream doing the CTFs. We didn't show a single answer on stream. When we found a flag, we taught chat the thought process we had for solving the challenge. So many people got so much benefit from that. That's how I approached what I had and giving it back to the community. And so to your question, you should stream whatever you want to, Sonic. Because people will want to see how you go about solving the challenge. It's not about solving the Hack the Box module. It's about understanding your mindset on how you solve the problem. Gabriel over on LinkedIn says, do you have any idea about quantum computing and how it would affect encryption? I do. I've got thoughts on it. I think so. I am very, very bullish on AI and quantum. I think that quantum computing is going to be awesome. Now, take that for a second, right? How would it affect encryption? Only positively. Only positively. Well, Neal, it's going to break encryption. It's going to break everything we know about the internet. You know what happens when things get broken? They get fixed. Right? When things get broken, they get fixed. You ever heard the saying, like, sometimes you got to let the machine break? Sometimes you have to let the machine break to get it fixed. Right? And so if quantum computing is going to come and break encryption, I welcome it. I welcome it. Because you know what will come out of the ashes of that? Something awesome. Right? So I'm not afraid of quantum computing at all whatsoever. Bring it on. Bring it on. There was a comment that I saw that I was trying to push up, but I can't find it now. Oh, that's right. It's right there. Thank you. This right here, Operation Tech Takeover. This is exactly, I love this mentality right here, right? Right? That is amazing. Teach someone how to fish and they will eat for a lifetime. There's another part to that saying, though, that I want to harp on for folks. Right? I do believe in teaching people how to fish. I do believe in teaching people how to fish, but be careful because it's easier to teach somebody how to fish when they're not starving. Think about that for a minute. It's easier to teach somebody how to fish when they're not starving. What does that mean? Right? Everybody needs a place to learn. It's no secret. It's no secret that I've been very anti-try harder. I wrote a paper on try harder and toxicity in cyber in 2016 that was my first run-in with the hate-filled toxic cybersecurity community that exists. I got so much hate for that paper I wrote. I put it all over LinkedIn. I didn't care. I had people DMing me, Neal, you need to take this down. You're going to piss a lot of people off. I was like, I don't care. If I piss people off, that's because it's true. Right? You can't learn if you're drowning. You can't, like, I don't care. This isn't kids, right? Where you throw them in the pool and they'll either figure out how to drown or they'll swim, right? They'll figure out how to swim or they'll drown, however that goes, right? Sometimes you have to give them a piece of fish so that they're not starving. And then you can teach them how to fish. That's how I've always tried to operate. That doesn't mean, I mean, again, like there's, oh, Neal, but some people just don't Google stuff. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Wasn't Try Harder supposed to help those people figure out how to Google stuff? No, it's turned into this toxic statement that's like, I've done steps A through double Z and I still can't figure it out. Go try harder. Don't know how many times I've seen that out of people. I've done 2 OSCPs. I did it when it was pen testing for Backtrack and pen testing for Cali. And you wouldn't, like, I left the IRC channel for OffSec because I literally watched that thing happen. I've done steps A through double Z. I've tried all these things. I've researched all of this. I still can't seem to get this thing work. Try harder. It's the most infuriating thing ever. Somebody clip that laugh and send it to BeardSec. Apparently it freaks him out. He needs to see it in his DMs from everybody. I love you, boo. DJ Eric says, I've been in IT for over 20 years and your streams I watched all the time during COVID. Wow, long-time COVID watcher. When I was let go, when looking for other roles during that time, you were the one that I gained a ton of info from regarding my transition into cyber, and I thank you for that. I also mentioned your name during an interview when I was asked what I do in regards to IT cyber research. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Love seeing you. Love seeing our longtime folks in chat. Absolutely. Absolutely. To your previous statement on thinking like a hacker, do you have any previous resources going further in the detail of the thought process? I wish I did, iFight. I wish I did. I'm not a huge book reader. I'll say that. I've got a closet full of, a bookshelf full of books, right? It was painful to read through the books that I read. Right? Good luck, Sec IT guy. Have a good day at your meetings. I appreciate you as always, sir. But I still go and I look for books. And it's hard to find books that talk about it. As a matter of fact, I think that most of the books that talk about it don't do it justice enough, to be quite honest with you. A lot of you know I've had 2 failed starts at writing a book. Frankly, the level of effort involved in writing a book was more than I was willing to commit to, right? I'd rather sit here and spend this time with you on a live stream. And talk to you on a live stream. I'm grabbing my book. For those who remember, I spent a lot of time writing down my thoughts over the holiday when I was down in Florida. And I want you to, if it'll show up, I need to cover a couple of things up because I've got like a couple of names on here that I need to cover up. Let's cover this one up. Right. So I'll show this a little bit so you can see, right, where my thoughts are at on content, right? And you can see, if the camera will focus, right, a lot of it is on my strengths, right? And it says ethical hacking, NSA style, less tools, more tactics, right? Defensive cyber operations, military intelligence and military strategy, right? Those are things that I want to do. I'd rather do them here in this form. I'd rather make specific content on live streams and do them here because I think that there isn't enough of that content out there. And I think that I can do really, really good with content, right? I don't know. I've been at it for a couple of years. You guys tell me if I'm any good with content, but I think there's not enough of that content out there, I fight. And so I think that I think I'd love to do some of that content. It's on my list it's on my goal for you guys. This is my goal book because I have to do things on paper. Like I gotta write it on paper. This is my goal book. These are some of the goals that I put forth while I was in Florida for content. But no, I wish there was more out there. That's one of the reasons why I want to do it, is because there's not enough of it out there. This is our Friday morning AMA stream. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything, and this is a prime example of what I mean by Ask Me Anything. We've been talking all sorts of stuff about cyber. We've been talking about, hacking, all sorts of stuff. I absolutely welcome conversations about my health, my golf game. For those who don't know, I am an aspiring PGA Champions Tour professional. I'm on the road to the PGA Tour. I spend a lot of time golfing. I've dropped my handicap. I'm coming up on my second year. I'm coming up on the end of my second year of competitive golf. End of my second year of competitive golf. And I absolutely love it. Like the amount of analogies that I could draw for you between golf and cyber has been amazing. Right? I absolutely believe firmly in my mind that there is a great correlation between cybersecurity and golf. Hands down. I'm happy. I love to talk about it too. I will unequivocally say, I will stake this in the ground. Learning how to do competitive golf has made me a better CISO, has made me a better cybersecurity professional, has made me a better streamer, and has made me a better human. All four of those things. I can't count. Thanks, Beard. I knew that one was I know he's gonna pick up on that one. Shit. I'm gonna be reminded of that one later. So to my favorite club in the bag, 9 or 7 iron. 9 or 7 iron. I'm getting really, really good. I've had some absolutely baller shots with both of those clubs. Both of those clubs have absolutely been pretty transformative to some clutch shots that I've had on the golf course. Absolutely love it. I wish I could say driver. I'm still working on driver. Right? I'm still working on driver. Driver's an interesting club, to say the least. But I do love golf, right? One of the analogies that I'll always reference when it comes to golf and cyber, right? You can practice as much as you want. As much as you can. And when I say by practice, try hack me, hack the box, right? Tabletop exercises if you're cyber defense, right? You can practice 12 plus hours of the day. When you get up on the tee box or when you go to put your hands on the keyboard, whether it's offensively or defensively, the scenario that you will be faced with is never what you practiced. It's either a different operating system or a different port or a different threat actor or a different hash or a different server or a different scenario. It's always different. Just like in golf, just like when I set up that tee shot. And so all you can do is go back to your training, hit the shot that you've been working on and practicing and that you think is right, and wherever the ball lands, whatever the results of you hitting enter on that exploit or quarantining that box, whatever happens is whatever happens, and you have to respond to that no matter where the ball lands. You get good breaks out of bad shots. You get bad breaks out of good shots. You can have great cyber defenses and still get popped. We say that unequivocally. You can have great cyber defenses and still get popped. It happens to companies every day. Every single day. That's what I mean by having a bad break out of a good shot. I've had them. I've hit amazing drives and literally watched them catch a bounce and roll into water, roll into the sand, roll onto the cart path and take another bounce. It happens all the time, just like in cyber. And all you can do is make the best out of the situation. That's my biggest takeaway from golf to cyber. Life in general, honestly, right? My cancer journey is another example of that, right? Folks, the mod team who is in DMs with me as we were trying to figure out what the future of cyber insecurity looked like when I got diagnosed, right? I had a couple choices. I could let cancer destroy me, right? Or I could come back stronger. You have to decide what you're going to do with that shot. That's why I love it. That's why I love golf. I love talking about golf too, as you can tell. If you're interested in more golf life cyber analogies, join me over on Instagram. Join me over on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, not the cyber. I mean, you could join me on the cyber insecurity Instagram, but on my personal Instagram, I documented a lot of my golf learnings, a lot of my epiphanies from golf, my golf travels and things like that. I do a lot of that on my personal Instagram. I want to say this, the folks who are in my DMs, the folks who respond to my stories on Instagram have a super special place in my heart. Not to say that the rest of you don't, but I can unequivocally tell you that, like, I'll be getting ready for a tournament and I will have posted a story and I will go look at the comments from that story and there will be somebody wishing me well wishes and it fires something inside of me. And I'm like, yes, let's go. And so I appreciate everybody who's in my DMs cheering me on for my golf journey. If you want to do something for me, come cheer me on my golf journey. That's all I ask. Come cheer me on my golf journey. Global News UK on YouTube says, as an ethical hacker, almost all of my jobs consist of trying harder every day. Everybody's job consists of trying harder. Trying hard is what people should do every day. Right? What we do in cyber isn't easy. Me hating on try harder isn't a function that says that you shouldn't try hard. Make no mistake about it. Cyber is hard. Cyber is difficult. What we do isn't easy. What I'm telling you is it is a toxic thought that when new people are up and coming and they ask you for your advice, and I'll go back to what Residual said in chat yesterday. He was helping a colleague out to get a job. He had two choices. He could have told that colleague to try harder, or he could have gave them a recommendation to get past HR to get to the interview process, and even did a mock interview session with them to prepare. And his response is, it feels good to give back. Telling a drowning person to try harder isn't giving back. Right? But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try hard. Everybody should try hard on everything that they do. Steve Jobs had a great quote that I'm going to butcher because I'm terrible at remembering stuff. But it basically goes along the lines of that work will consume about 60% of your life. And so it doesn't do you any good to be miserable and not try hard. Right? Try your best. Do your best out there. Oh. I'll make sure to slide into your DMs. I don't mind. If I were to tell you, I have seriously thought about exposing my DMs that I get. I could seriously do an entire roast session on the DMs that I get. And I'm not talking about from fans. What I'm talking about is like, can you help me hack my girlfriend's Instagram account? Residual was just talking about you. Thank you so much for the sub. 16 months in a row. Our Canadian friends. Awesome and timely question in Twitch, right? Let me address this, right? Wait, so can I DM with cybersecurity questions that I have? Anybody can DM me at any point in time on any platform. That has never changed. Ever. I've always been that way. You can DM me and ask me any question on any platform at any time. I want you to just remember a couple of rules about that, right? I have several social media platforms that I check. I get lots of DMs. I absolutely do my ever-loving best to answer every DM. That is my promise to you, is I do my ever-loving best to answer every DM. If I don't answer your DM, it is nothing personal. I'm probably just busy, right? I plan on going to the range today, right? At some point in time, right? I'm going to be out on the range for 2 or 3 hours. If you DM me while I'm out on the range, I'm not going to stop practicing on the golf range to respond to your DM. Please respect that, right? Give me some time to respond to your DMs. I may point you to booking a session with me. Let me say that again. I may point you to booking a session with me. That's not a money grab. That is because the question you're asking is not something I can type with my stubby little fingers on my phone. It's not something I can easily do a video. I have done video responses to people for questions. It's something that is multi-layered and requires us to have some time, some one-on-one time to talk through. So there are levels in which I will respond to things. Hey, Neal, I've got an opportunity to get this internship at this company. Here are the pros, here are the cons. Should I take it? Yep, that sounds like a solid idea. You should go for it. Boom. That's easy, right? Hey, Neal, I was in this interview. I don't think it went really, really well. Can you help me figure out what I did wrong and how to prepare for it next time? Hey, hard to know about this without getting into some depth. Recommend you booking some one-on-one time with me. You see the difference in those two questions? Please, in chat, say something if you don't understand the difference between those two questions. They may seem simple, right? But there are vastly different ways to respond to that require vastly different responses. But I will always respond to your DMs. Absolutely. I thoroughly appreciate everybody's DMs. I really do. They mean the world to me. Sonic says, I saw you can go for the CISSP before you have the work experience needed to be granted for the cert. Is it smart to start it now despite not being granted the cert later? CISSP is weird, right? I don't fundamentally hate CISSP. CISSP is typically a management cert. What do I mean by management cert? It is typically a good resume line item that helps you get to management slots. But I can unequivocally tell you that it is not a showstopper if you don't have CISSP. So let's make that clear. I don't have CISSP. Shocker. I know several CISOs who don't have CISSP. Right? I will not renew. I will not spend stupid amounts of money with ISC squared. I will not do their stupid continuing education credits for CISSP. I will not. I refuse to. So I do not have a CISSP. Right? But that doesn't mean it's not valuable. It's one of the few certs that I will say does teach you some valuable concepts. For those who don't know who's seeing Callie's chat in Twitch, that's cynicism from Callie. That's cynicism from Callie. There is value in understanding how CISSP's view of the world exists. That's what I'll say about CISSP. And what I say by that is CISSP is one of the few exams where they give you a question and there are 4 right answers. And so your job is to pick the best right answer. It's vastly different than a lot of other multiple choice that exist out there. Because in cybersecurity, it's not binary. Let's say that again. Say it with me in your homes and your offices. The answer in cybersecurity is not binary. The amount of times that I've had conversations with our product team, right, at Query, where they've asked me, how does a security analyst handle an investigation, Neal? Well, it depends. How does a security analyst go about a threat hunt, Neal? Well, it depends. Well, if they get this alert, Neal, how do they respond to it? Well, it depends, right? Cybersecurity is like that. And so the CISSP helps prepare you for that by giving you 4 right answers and having you pick the one that is the most right. That can be really annoying for a lot of folks. Right? That would be really annoying for a lot of folks who aren't used to thinking critically. See a theme here? So back to your question. If work is willing to pay for you to sit CISSP, and you can go and it doesn't cost you anything to learn on CISSP, and you can take the exam and you can pass it before you meet the work requirements, I don't mind that answer. I don't mind that answer. Notice I said if work pays for it. If you are new to cyber and you're asking me if you should go out and front the cost of CISSP, the answer is no, every day of the week. Every day of the week. You as an entry-level person, as a mid-level person, if you do not personally have the work experience for a CISSP, you personally should not go out and pay for CISSP right now. Let me make that expressly clear. Right? But if work is going to pay for it, and work is going to encourage you, and work is going to give you the leeway to do it, you should do it, regardless of your work experience. But don't let it get you down if you don't succeed at it. It is hard. It teaches you to think differently. The cost of certs is ridiculous. Listen. This is why I will say do the free stuff work 9 ways to Sunday. Every day of the week, do the free stuff first. Come to this stream, use my resume rubric, go watch my free resume videos, go watch my free LinkedIn videos, go watch the free Python class that's taught by a collegiate instructor on our Cyber Insecurity channel. Go do free stuff first. Why? Because you are paying for somebody else's pleasures in today's cert economy. You are paying for you're paying for some CEO's pleasures. You're paying for some CEO's boat. You're paying for some CEO's toy. You are paying for some CEO's stock options. You are paying for somebody else to enjoy your money in today's market economy. There is nothing special. I use Metasploit as an example, but insert any pen testing tool, and there is nothing uniquely special about what Joe can teach you versus what Bob can teach you. Back to our content creation that we talked about before, it's all the same and it's all available for free. Right? You should choose. Be skeptical. Be skeptical about who you give your money to. Right? Sales and marketing is about separating you from your money. Period. Dot. Full stop. And so be skeptical about who you give your money to. So I say all that to say, I was a former SANS instructor. I taught SANS for 5 years. I taught SANS for 5 years. The only advice I would ever give to anybody whenever they ask me about a SANS course, ever, when I was an instructor or even to this day, is who is paying for it? Who is paying for it? If your work isn't paying for a SANS cert, walk away from it. You don't need it. You do not need it. There is no amount of money that you will ever make on the other side of a SANS cert that justifies any remote example of an ROI on a SANS cert. Period. Dot. Full stop. Fight me, bro. Fight me. You will not make up that money as a job from a SANS cert. Period. Dot. End of discussion. right? So you're right. The price, please, I beg you, I implore you, with all of my heart, go do free training. There's so much free stuff that's out there. Aveto over on YouTube. Good, long time no see. Wow, long time no see. Listen to Neal. I followed his advice 3 years ago. I was a delivery driver for Advanced Auto Parts. I've been a pen tester for 3 years. Certs are a sign of competence to HR, not real training. They're not. They're not real training. Right? iFight. Honestly, this is my second live stream. Hands down, best security podcast on YouTube. Thank you for your honesty, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I don't have to do this, right? I'm grateful that Query allows me to do this. I'm grateful to have been doing this for 5 years. I'm grateful to everybody as an audience, everybody who tunes in and gives their time. My thank you for giving me your time is take the advice that's in my head. I will give it freely and willingly. All you have to do is ask me the questions. Right? All you have to do is ask me the questions. I believe in every single one of you. I know every single one of you can and will succeed. Twitch, Ben says, I was curious as someone builds their red team skills, whether you would suggest a well-rounded skill set or focusing on a particular set of skills like web app pen testing. Great question. I love this question. I think you should focus in on what you're good at. Right? Pen testing, red teaming as a whole, is very vast. I can tell you that there is no, the saying, jack of all trades, master of none, unequivocally applies to pen testing. Unequivocally applies to pen testing. You cannot be a master of every aspect of penetration testing. There are just too many ways and too many diverse systems for you to be a master of every single one of them. What do I mean by that? You can't be a master of web app. You can't be a master of social engineering. You can't be a master of exploitation. You can't be a master of network. You can't be a master of IoT. You can't be a master of SCADA. You can't be a master of hardware. You can't be a master of RF. You can't be a master of API. You can't be a master pen tester in all of those arenas. You cannot. It is impossible. The world around us changes too fast for you to be a master of all of them. It's not to say that you're not capable. It's not to say that you don't have the aptitude. That's not what I mean. What I mean by that is the world changes too fast around us. Right? And so I would encourage you, like, you can start broad and find what interests you, and then you can start to hone in on it from there. I'll give you an example. As I was starting out, I really gravitated towards networking, probably because when I got into the military, I had started out on CCNA. I'd done 2 CCNA courses over the course of my time in the military. A lot of operating system work, right? Like MCSE, I was LPIC, lot of, especially in that area. I spent most of my time doing that, very little amount of my time on web app. And so my expertise gravitated towards network-based pen testing, hacking internal systems, doing a lot of packet stuff. Like I was a master of Scapy. Like I could do handcrafted packets. I did a pen test for a company one time where they had a great firewall that was blocking a lot of my scanning on the outside using stock tools. And I immediately went to Scapy and was able to pull up Scapy and use Python to basically craft an Nmap scanner completely from scratch using Scapy. Right? That was more my specialty line. I decided to grow myself and become more of an exploit developer. I found my first 0 day. I started to do a lot of stack exploitation. And then I made it all the way down to use after free vulnerabilities, and I was done. I was like, this exceeds my comfort level. This exceeds my expertise. This exceeds where I want to go. I'm not having fun being this far into assembly. And that's where I backed out and stopped. Right? But if you were to ask me, right, I was never really good at web app pen testing. Right. And so so a lot of people use red teaming and they throw around red teaming skills, right? A team, let's make sure everybody's aware of the definition of a team. How many people are on a team? Does anybody know the answer to that question? We're going to check everybody's math on this one. How many people are on a team? No, BeardSec, not one, right? A team comprises of more than one person. Right? And so if you think you are a red teamer as an individual, you don't understand what red teaming is. Red teaming is about being a part of a team. And so when I was building red teams, you know what I looked for? I looked for great web app testers. And I used web app testers to augment my ability once I got into systems. And so I would write exploits and they would do, SQL injection that would use, the command execution on a Windows server, and I would give them the payload to execute because they were great at finding SQL injection and I was great at writing backdoors. See how that works? That's a red team. That's a red team. We did a pen test. One of the engagements I was on that I led when I was with the Big Four, where we truly had a team and we were attacking a university. And as part of this, what I wanted to do is I wanted to give people an opportunity to try new aspects that they hadn't previously tried before. And so we had one of the ways that we were getting in was through social engineering, obviously, because it's a university. It was one of the best ways. Story time. This particular university, had, if you've ever dealt with universities, most universities have exposed way too much information on their websites. It's the nature of universities, right? And so as we were reconning this university, we had seen that they were publicly advertising some IT maintenance across the university. This was when there was the latest blow up of top-level domains, and so we had gone out and we had registered this university.it, which is an Italian top-level domain. We'd paid like $30 for it because it was still a premium at the time, right? And so it was this university.it. And so our pretext was, hey, you may have seen on the intranet page that was publicly exposed to the internet that there was IT maintenance going on. We need you to go to the university's IT page that we cloned and copied. We put a link in there for our malware and download the update so that we can do maintenance on your computer. And then we used the directory on the university's website to figure out who we were going to target for this pretext. Now, listen, targeting is targeting. It is what it is. You are looking for victims. There's no other way to say it. And so you are definitely socially profiling people in a directory to determine who has the highest likelihood of being susceptible to your social engineering campaign. I'll say that because I got in trouble last time I talked about stories like this and I talked about who we targeted. Use your imagination. That was the process that we went through to target it. There was a room full of about 10 of us, and I led the first one so that they could see how it was done. I did the first one. We had everything on speaker. It was a huge success. We got our malware landed. We got a backdoor. I had a group of folks on my team go off and start perpetuating the attack. Using that example, we went around the room to folks who had never done social engineering before to see if they were interested in trying to see if they were interested in social engineering. Almost everybody went to it except for one person. This dude was brilliant. I would go on every engagement with this individual. He was smart. He was freaking smart. So make no mistake, this was one of my best pen testers on my team. I text him to this day. If he's on the stream, I don't know if he is, he'll know this story because he knows what we're talking about. I unequivocally thought he was one of the best pen testers I ever worked with in my life. He had listened to everybody else be successful in this social engineering engagement. We got to him and he said, Neal, I can't do this. I said, why not? And he said, I can't, in good conscience. I just watched all of you lie to these people, to their face, with no emotion, to get them to click on this malware. He was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. This was an ethical hacker saying this. One of the most brilliant ones that I'd ever had privilege of working with my entire career. Watch all of us social engineer a target, and when it came his time, he couldn't, in good conscience, execute on it. I didn't fault him for it. I like I said, to this day, he's still one of the best pen testers I've ever met in my entire life. But that just goes to show not every aspect of pen testing will be for you. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Go with what your strong suit is. Go find your strong suit and go be awesome at it. And that's how you're going to be an awesome pen tester or red teamer. Great question. Fantastic question. Hope you enjoyed the story. Gabriel over on LinkedIn says, I would always like to tune into your streams. Please, what time of day do you do this so I can set a reminder? First and foremost, make sure you have notifications turned on all my social media channels and on every stream channel. Make sure you got notifications turned on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, right? Turn notifications on. That is the easiest way that if you forget, you get a notification when we go live. But every Friday, unless I'm traveling for golf, traveling for work, or if I have to go back to get cancer treatments, Fridays will always be the day that we stream Tea with a Hacker, unless those three things are happening. And you know how you'll know one of those three things are happening? You can probably catch it on social media that those three things are happening, because I'll probably post that I'm in the hospital, I'm on a golf trip, or I'm in a cool city on social media. This is why I keep promoting the socials. Make sure you interact with the socials, right? Second thing, so every Friday, Tea with a Hacker. Hopefully, I've not seen any negative feedback in our community feedback channel on Discord. And so I'm going to continue to assume that so long as I don't see any negative feedback channel, you all enjoyed Tuesday's inaugural stream of the threat brief. So every other Tuesday, so not next Tuesday, but the week after, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing cybersecurity threat briefs, talking about the latest and greatest threats that are plaguing companies today from the front lines. Every other Thursday, so next Thursday, we do Sec Data Ops, which is security operations focused for the defensive folks. That happens at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every other Thursday. So you can absolutely always catch us always streaming. There may be some more stuff coming, right? There may be some more stuff coming, as I alluded to. We are starting, like a lot of folks are starting to support the stream through various subscriptions. I'll never ask for a subscription. That's not my goal, but I will unequivocally tell you, I've asked one of the mods. I'm waiting for them to accept. So I'm not going to say who it is, but I've asked one of the mods to be the accountant. I'm just being transparent with you, to be the accountant for Cyber Insecurity, meaning that whatever subscriber money we get, this is my promise. For those who have been around for 3+ years, remember, this was always the case. Whatever subscriber money we get, we will turn right around and we will buy free training for the community. Period. End of discussion. I don't take that money. I don't want that money. That money does not get taken by me whatsoever. We will take that money and we will turn around and buy Try Hack Me vouchers. We'll buy Hack the Box vouchers. We'll buy INE vouchers. We'll buy CISP vouchers. We'll buy Sec Plus vouchers. We don't care. We'll buy anything. Right? Any money, let me say this unequivocally. Any money that this channel generates, period. End of discussion, goes back into the community. That has always been our mantra. Always. Always. And it will always be the case. Right? Any money this channel generates goes back into the community. So with that being said, we will probably bring back some of the subscriber benefits because I do want the folks who do contribute to the community to get some unique benefits. So the mod team and I are working towards figuring out what those subscriber benefits look like so that you guys get something special for your contribution to the community. We're working on that. So that's how you can tune in. That's how you can go to support. Absolutely appreciate everybody's support on that. Steve over on YouTube says, will learning React and Next help with web app pen testing? You should always learn what the most predominant web coding skill is that's out there. But don't neglect the old technologies. Do you know that when I went to go work at FIS when I got out of the military, I was one of the few people that had AS400 hacking experience. You can thank the military for that. And so one of the things that they loved about hiring me for a pen testing role at FIS was that I knew how to pen test AS400 stuff. Right? Because you can still do good work learning how to hack the old stuff. Right? React and Next may be new and fangled and fancy, but it's not what most stuff is written on, right? It's not what most stuff is written on. And so you have to look and see what the predominance of the internet is written on if you want to be a good web app pen tester. That's part of honing your offensive security skills. Avedo says, hey, Neal, it's 2025 and almost every pen test I'm on has SMB version 1. Or lack of signing present? When will organizations finally phase out these legacy protocols? Not small companies either, Fortune 200. Fantastic question that there is no answer for, right? I've told this story before 100 times, right? Not too long ago, I was working for a Fortune 100 company that was doing manufacturing. I was working with them on a manufacturing line that serviced $10 million a day of product. One manufacturing line that serviced $10 million a day of product. That very first computer that if they said went down would literally bring the production line down was a Windows 2000 computer. I say all that to say, never. It will never happen. It will, just like there are still AS400s in financial institutions, it will never happen. Ever. You can bank money on it. You will never not be plagued by legacy technology. Windows 10 is legacy technology these days. Exactly. CC Link. You can still find Eternal Blue on 25% of them. Absolutely. Eternal Blue still exists. We were still using MS-08067 for years. You could probably still, for my old school folks in there who've done pen testing for a while, go look up MS-08067. Right? That exploit still works. It is 100% exploitation rate on 08067, and it still is found in companies today. right? Absolutely. Pays $100K for a pen test, has legacy vulnerabilities. You will never not find legacy vulnerabilities in organizations. It's what keeps us employed. It's what keeps us employed. You're never late. You're never late, and it's always nice to see you. It's always nice to see you too. COBOL mainframes is still most of banking. Absolutely. Absolutely. When will companies start putting confidentiality before availability? When it becomes fiscally beneficial for them to do so. That's what some of you don't understand, right? When it becomes fiscally beneficial for them to do so. Until the industry changes, availability, if a website generates $10 million a day, availability is the most important thing. Right? Availability is the most important thing. If the business doesn't make money, you don't have a job. Think about that for a minute. If the business isn't making money, you don't have a job. Which is why I encourage all of you to learn at least a little bit about business so that you can at least walk into those conversations and have constructive conversations with them. Goat over on Twitch says, hello, I'm new here. I've been watching some of your streams. How do you start your career in incident response? I just achieved my bachelor in cybersecurity, but most companies have not all want an experienced IR specialist. The age-old, how do you start your career question, right? To get experience, I need experience. Don't confuse poorly written job descriptions with the state of the industry, right? Don't confuse poorly written job descriptions. If somebody's asking for an incident response analyst as an entry-level person, they're typically looking for people who have already learned how to respond to incidents. The first step before an incident response analyst is a security analyst, somebody who's watching alerts, right? SOC analysts are the front lines people. They're the ones you start as a SOC analyst so that you can understand when an incident is an incident versus when it's a false positive or an event. If that may be, this is one of, now see, this is, this may not be the case for you, Goat, but let's pull on a couple of threads here. If you're wanting to get into incident response and you're looking on LinkedIn for a job and you're searching incident responders and you have zero experience, this is exactly what I talk about when I talk about learning how to search for a job on LinkedIn. Because you're using the wrong words in your job hunt. Go watch my videos on YouTube on hacking your LinkedIn and hacking your job search. You don't start your career as an incident responder most of the time. You start your career as a SOC analyst so you can get used to looking at alerts, seeing what a SOC looks like from the inside, and watching and mentoring with other incident responders. And then, after you've spent enough time in a SOC analyst, then you can graduate to being an incident responder. So what I would say is twofold. Perhaps maybe, right? Perhaps maybe you're looking in the wrong place for your first job and you don't even know it yet. That's not unreasonable. Some of you don't know how to leverage LinkedIn to look for the right jobs that you're trying to go after. Let's have a conversation about that, right? There's an entire strategy around how to use LinkedIn to look for jobs. All right? So kind of twofold to that. I would definitely recommend cyberdefenders.org. They have a ton of Blue Team content. Blue Team Labs, I'd absolutely recommend Blue Team Labs. Those are neither paid promotions. They focus very heavily on Blue Team concepts. You should absolutely be looking at a lot of Blue Team concepts. Highly encourage a lot of that. There's a lot of free stuff on both of those platforms that you can absolutely do today. Interesting question from Twitch on guacamole. It's guacamole. Gotcha. I got that one. Do you think we, people, government agencies, etc., are ready for the potential executive order for digital identity documents for driver's license and such? So before I answer this question, I want to remind everybody, we can talk about this without talking about politics. There are no politics in chat. Keep chat free of politics, but we can talk about it from a cybersecurity perspective. That's how we're going to look at it. Okay? Looking at it from a cybersecurity perspective, looking at it from a privacy perspective. We're not here to talk about politics. Okay? With that being said, make sure you're having the right conversations in chat around the cybersecurity, privacy implications of this, not politics. Ready is a weird word. Do I think we have the infrastructure to support widespread adoption? No, I don't. Do I think it is the right direction to go in? Sometimes. I do think, now hear me out on this one. I do think that there are certain benefits to moving to a digital system in most cases. EMR, electronic medical records, have absolutely transformed the medical industry. Right? This is not to say that there aren't still vulnerabilities in the EMR system. I used to hack the Epic systems all the time. They're wrought with vulnerabilities. That's not a function of the premise behind EMR. This is like saying quantum computing or AI, right? This isn't to address systemic problems with the technology. This is to say the thought of EMR are amazing. Right? I do believe, fight me on it, you can hate me for it, I don't care. I do think that there is a future where NFT technology, I'm not talking Bored Apes, I'm not talking like, digital garbage art, but I do think that NFT technology does have a place in ticket fraud. And so with that being said, I do think that digital identification documents can be valuable. Like it or not, I mean, look at the counterfeit industry. The counterfeit industry is wrought with fraud, right? And so anything that we can do technologically to reduce fraud, I'm 100% in support of, right? Fraud, here's the reason why. Fraud is the reason why you have to pay so much for things like insurance, right? For things like premiums, right? The reason we pay so much to our banks is because they've had to deal with so much fraud. Right? Cost of banking is the offset cost of fraud programs. It's not to take away from profits, right? Of course, they're going to go after profits. But if they can add more fees to offset the cost of fraud, they will. And so I do think that digital technology, digital identity documents, technologically could be huge as an advancement. Yeah, Residual, about the NFT tech, right? Right? There are real world use cases. So back to fraud. There's a Walmart deal. Walmart has a massive, where's Bayou Beast? He could probably speak to this as well. Walmart has a massive anti-fraud and loss prevention department, one of the largest in the world. Because people will knock off trucks, steal PS5s, take fake receipts that they've gotten out of the garbage to Walmart to do a return on a PS5 so they can get cash or defraud Walmart. Understand that concept? It's one of the biggest fraud things that Walmart has to deal with. Imagine if that receipt were an NFT that was on your phone. That in and of itself, the technology behind NFTs would absolutely eliminate that level of fraud and would save Walmart so much money in fraud detection. Right? Those are scenarios where technology, when not used for freaking apes on a digital canvas, has the potential to truly be transformative of our way of life. Yeah, no. I don't see Link. I'm not discounting. Like, we could butt this thing to death, right? We could butt this thing to death, but you could butt anything to death, right? You could butt debit cards to death. You could butt your car keys to death. You could butt driver's licenses to death. You could butt using their iPads on a daily basis to death, right? Nothing is impervious. Right? We're not here to say that because we can butt it, that it's infallible, right? I think we can all agree on that. But as practitioners of technology, we must first understand how systems work and how they can be used for good before we can break them. Let me say that. I am a firm believer that if you look at technology and you immediately poo-poo on it, you're not a true practitioner. If you can't look at technology and at least derive the pros of it first before you start to reverse engineer the cons, you're not a real practitioner. I'm not saying that there aren't cons. I'm not saying there's cons to literally everything, right? And we should absolutely talk about the cons, and we should absolutely risk manage around the cons. But if you can't see both sides of the coin, if you can't see, I'm not saying embrace, I'm not saying adopt, I'm not saying evangelize, but if you can't see both sides, are you a real practitioner? With that, I absolutely appreciate everybody tuning in with me this Friday. Great conversation as always. I want to remind everybody, thank you for tuning in for my opinions. These are my opinions alone. They've been gathered off of 25 plus years in this industry. I do not make them as statements of fact, and I do not say that they are the only or the right opinions that exist out there. They're simply mine, and I come in here and I share them freely with you every week. Next week, next Thursday, we got Sec Data Ops. So our 2 streams next week are Sec Data Ops and Tea with a Hacker. I do have some travel coming up. Make sure you're in Discord. You can see in the Hacker Meetup as well as the notification channel where I've got travel coming up. As a reminder, if I am in your neck of the woods, it is free mentorship. It is free mentorship if I'm in the neck of your woods, whether it's dinner, drinks, or a round of golf. If I'm in your neck of woods, it is free mentorship. That being said, make sure you're in Discord. Make sure you tune into those socials. Make sure you stay awesome because I believe in every single one of you. And whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.
Guess I'll be better off by myself. Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and one man's pain is another man's pleasure. Now you can take a look, but you won't find nobody better. And you told me that you love me, maybe you were under pressure. I don't know if I can ever trust someone again, let alone